Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome to my Stanley Cup Playoffs simulation video for 2018. So I was going to do this video like on Monday or Tuesday, but unfortunately my dad was home like all week, so basically I'm going to do it today, which is actually a pretty good day considering the playoffs actually start tonight. There's like 3 or 4 games I think on schedule, so it should be an interesting night. So first, before we get into the simulation, I'm going to run through each matchup and I'm going to give you guys my predictions again, kind of. So yeah, let's start off in the West with the Nashville Predators and the Colorado Avalanche. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised Colorado made it. I don't think they're going to be able to get past Nashville just because Nashville's got a very good defensive core and a better goaltending combination than Colorado does. Because I don't think Jonathan Bernier will outplay Pecorine, to be honest. And then the forward core in Nashville is pretty deep because you got really good centers like Johansson and Turris and whatnot. Like Colorado could be a good team come next season because they got McKinnon and Rantanen and all that stuff that did really well during the regular season. So I'm interested to see how this series plays out. Then we also got the Winnipeg Jets making it back to the playoffs for the first time since I think 2014 or 2015 when they played the Anaheim Ducks. I could be wrong with that. And the Minnesota Wild. I think this one should be easily for Winnipeg because Winnipeg's also got a pretty deep defensive core and forward core. And then Connor Hellebuyck was just amazing during the regular season, so that's why I think Winnipeg will come out on top. And Minnesota, I don't know if Eric Stahl could carry them even farther. Like, Eric Stahl was their best player by far during the regular season. So I'm not sure if Minnesota could get to the second round. They have had trouble in the past few years getting past like the first round. So I wouldn't be surprised if Winnipeg moves on. Then our third matchup here in the West, you got Vegas making it against the Los Angeles Kings. Despite Vegas having a very good regular season, I don't know if this team is actually legitimate, like a legitimate contender right off the get-go. LA apparently is the underdogs in this series, but I do think LA is going to come out on top just because they have more experience down the road. And Vegas, I don't know if they're going to just continue their Cinderella story in the playoffs. I'd like to see that. Like, I like Vegas as a team, but I don't know if it's going to actually happen. Then we have the Anaheim Ducks and the San Jose Sharks, a battle of California. San Jose, like, I feel like they're trending backwards in a sense. Like, they are making playoffs and stuff like that, but their team is pretty old in age. I guess Anaheim is like that as well, but Anaheim's got a pretty good defensive core. San Jose's got a similar defensive core. Like, they're both really close teams, like, in terms of center depth and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to guess that Anaheim, though, takes this series in maybe like 6 or 7 games just because I feel like they've had more experience recently. And, well, San Jose went to finals a couple years ago, but I don't think San Jose is a legitimate contender this year. I could be wrong with that, but that's my guess. Then we move on to the Eastern Conference. We got Tampa Bay versus New Jersey, which I was really surprised when New Jersey made it, kind of, because they haven't made it since they went to the Cup Finals in 2014, so that should be interesting. I'm not sure if Taylor Hall will be able to carry them any farther than this first round, considering Tampa Bay has a very deep team on defense. Like, they made that big, bold trade at the deadline, getting rid of Nemesnikov, bringing in Ryan McDonough. So I think Tampa Bay's got all the tools they need to potentially win a Stanley Cup. Like, I feel like the Stanley Cup Finals could be Tampa Bay and Nashville, even though both those teams were like the top 2 teams in the league. So yeah, Tampa Bay would move on from the series in my opinion. Then we got Boston and Toronto, so a rematch of 2013. Personally, like, the Leafs don't have much playoff experience. Like, they have a lot of good youth. Like, I feel like they are going to be a very good team soon, and that's me saying that even as a Sens fan. But I feel like Boston has better players right now, like Marchand and Bergeron and stuff like that. I feel like they have more experience, obviously, winning the Stanley Cup in 2010 or 2011, and going to the Cup Finals in 2013. So I say Boston takes the series in probably 7 games, just like 2013. And then we got Washington and Columbus. Now, a lot of people are all saying Washington is going to win this, but like Washington has had a kind of a history of choking in the playoffs. And Columbus is kind of actually getting to being a very good team because they got very good depth. They got good young guys. They got good defensive core. They got a really good goaltender. So I'm interested to see if the Blue Jackets can actually pull off an upset and get to the second round for the first time in franchise history. And that's my prediction, is that they will eliminate Washington in 7 games. And our final matchup here in the East is the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers. Personally, obviously, like, I hate the Penguins considering they took out my Sens in the conference finals last year. But I do feel like Pittsburgh's still good enough at least to get to the second round of the playoffs. Philadelphia, I didn't really see them making the playoffs at the start of the year, and I don't see them getting onto the next round unless Claude Giroux could step up his game even more so than he did during the regular season. So I say the Penguins take this one probably in like 6 games. Okay, so now that we've gone through our matchups and my predictions, let's get into the simulation. Okay, so let's go through the first round kind of quickly and see all the player stats and whatnot. And I didn't mean to go in-game simulation, but we might as well do this for this first one. Scoreless after 1. And, okay, offensive period, actually, 3-2 Nashville. Third period, and Nashville will take game 1. So, yeah, I'm not going to do real-time simulation until we get to the actual Stanley Cup Finals. But I'm going to just quick sim through with the first round, just so we can kind of guess who, or see who wins faster and whatnot. Because or else it's going to be a very long video. Like I did this last year, and I think it was already like 30-something minutes long. So let's see who takes all the game 1s. It's going to be Nashville, LA, Tampa Bay, Columbus, Winnipeg, San Jose, Toronto, and Pittsburgh. Interesting. Let's see who takes game 2s. And I did not mean to go into this play now screen. I don't know why. I think it's lagging kind of because I'm recording still on OBS. Just because like I don't want to risk my dad coming home, because I'm actually only limited to like an hour a day of video games. So assume to next game. And we're going to keep on going like that. So it looks like a lot of 2-0 series currently. Teams using that like home ice advantage or not. And so Nashville's up 2-0, LA's up 2-0, Tampa's up 2-0, Washington and Columbus are tied, Winnipeg's up 2-0, San Jose is up 2-0. Wow, San Jose's up 2-0 and they didn't even have home ice. Wow. Toronto's up 2-0, so Boston lost their home ice advantage as well. And Pittsburgh is up 2-0. Okay, let's see about game 3. A lot of these teams should probably pull back in the series to make it like a 2-1 game or series. There's a couple 3-0s it looks like. Okay, so it's 2-1 currently, 2-1, 3-0, 2-1, 3-0, 3-0, 2-1, 2-1. So a lot of 2-1 series, and probably there's going to be a lot of tie series, I'd assume. Because I feel like most of these series in like real life could go a legitimate like 6 games. So Winnipeg does not sweep. Oh yeah, I actually had 2 sweeps. Wow, that is surprising. Okay, so San Jose swept the Anaheim Ducks in the first round. So Anaheim trending backwards like yet again. Tampa Bay sweeps New Jersey, which is not really a surprise, but I feel like that series in real life could probably go 5 or 6 games instead of 4 games. So let's continue with this. And wow, Colorado has taken the lead on Nashville. What is this? Columbus is almost into the second round. And let's see. So Winnipeg has eliminated Minnesota in 5 games. And that's the only other elimination so far. Let's continue. And this is with the most recent roster update, guys, the one that literally just came out yesterday. Let's just get this first round done. So, what else happened? Colorado eliminated Nashville in 7 games. If that actually happens, I'll be really surprised, to be honest. LA defeated Vegas in 6 games. That's realistic, I think. Columbus defeated Washington in 6 games, so hopefully that happens, being a Columbus fan partly. Philadelphia defeated Pittsburgh, wow, in the first round in 6 games. Damn, if that happens as well, I'll be pretty happy. And not Columbus, what the heck? Boston and Toronto going to a Game 7. Who's on to the next round? It is going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, Leaf fans, you finally made the second round for the first time since, 2004. So, let's take a look at the player stats throughout the first round, and then we'll get into the second round. So, currently, Laine leads the way with 10 points in 5 games. Yeah, probably him and Scheifele and maybe people like Kyle Connor are producing. Couturier's got 9 points in 6 games. Stamkos 8 points in 4 games. Wow. And Giroux 8 points as well. A lot of players that are over point per game, so this is interesting so far. Let's get into the second round. So currently we have Winnipeg and Colorado, San Jose and LA, so another California matchup. Tampa Bay and Toronto, and the Flyers and Columbus. Let's see who could pull out a win and get onto the conference finals. Also, if you guys want to check out my one from last year, I will put a card up right now, pretty much, so you guys could look at that video. So after one game, Winnipeg has the lead, LA has the lead, Toronto and Columbus have the lead. And after 2 games, let's see. All those teams have a 2-0 series lead, except for Columbus, and the Flyers are now tied at 1. Okay, let's see about this. So Winnipeg is up 2-1 now. LA is up 3-0 on the Sharks, who swept the first round. Well, Toronto's up 2-1 on Tampa Bay, and Columbus is up 2-1 on the Flyers. I feel like a lot of the teams that have young players, like Winnipeg has Laine, Toronto has Matthews, Columbus has Werenski and Jones and stuff like that. I feel like those teams are the ones that are the ones that will win the cup, just because they overrate younger guys in comparison to the older guys. So after that game, we have all 3-1 series leads for Winnipeg, LA, Toronto, and Columbus. So will we have some advancements here? And Winnipeg is on to the conference finals, which is what I expected, because in my predictions, kind of with the NHL bracket challenge, I had Winnipeg going to the conference finals against Nashville. So let's see if LA could get onto the conference finals. No, they can't. How about Toronto? Yes, Toronto takes out Tampa Bay. Wow. So Toronto's on to the conference finals. It seems like we're going to have a Toronto-Winnipeg final or something like that, like Laine versus Matthews. What about this one, Columbus? Yes, Columbus takes out the Flyers, and they're off to the conference finals. Wow. I think I had Columbus also getting to the conference finals, but they, in my prediction, they actually beat out Pittsburgh, because I didn't think Flyers would get to the second round. Let's see if LA could get to the conference finals as well. It looks like they will, yep. So in the conference finals, we got the LA Kings versus the Winnipeg Jets, and the Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. So let's take an updated look at the player stats, and then we will continue the simulation. So Laine, 15 points in 10 games. He's a goal per game currently too. Kopitar 14 points, Pearson 14 points, Couturier 14, Hurdle 13, Doughty 13. So still a lot of players that are point per game. How about goaltending? We haven't checked goalies yet. Bobrovsky, wow. Bobrovsky's been amazing. 8-3 with 4 shutouts, 930 save percentage, and a 1.91. Hopefully he actually plays that way during this playoff run, because currently in his career, his playoff numbers are pretty bad. And then also, I guess I meant to say Washington is actually starting Philip Grubauer for game 1. So I'm interested to see how he actually plays as a starter in the playoffs. I don't know if he's going to outplay Holtby or what. So let's get into the conference finals. While I'm simming through this, what do you guys think? Who do you think will win the Stanley Cup this year? Don't give a biased opinion unless you want to. But who do you think other than your team will win the Stanley Cup? And if you guys you guys could also predict, I guess, who wins the Conn Smythe and all that stuff. Let me know down below your opinions and thoughts. So currently Winnipeg has a 3-1 series lead on the LA Kings, and Toronto and Columbus are tied at 2. Will Winnipeg go to the Stanley Cup Finals? No, they won't just yet. How about Columbus and Toronto? Who takes the lead? It is Toronto. So it looks like it could be a Toronto-Winnipeg Stanley Cup Finals, just because they like the overweight Matthews and Laine and all those players. So let's see, will Winnipeg move on? No, they won't just yet, as that series is headed to a Game 7. What about Toronto and Columbus? Toronto has defeated Columbus, damn. So Toronto off to the Stanley Cup Finals for like the first time since 1967. So I don't know if they'll get a cup, but maybe Matthews and Marner and Nylander will all take home one at the end of this simulation video, unfortunately, because I don't like the Leafs at all, being a Sens fan as well. But I do think they are a good team and they should win one soon. So let's see if Winnipeg moves on. No, the LA Kings will. So Toronto versus LA. So this is like a rematch of, I think there was like, these two teams were in the same division before, and LA won like the series. I can't remember. It was in the 90s. It was before I was alive, I believe. But you guys can let me know down below if you're an older viewer. So let's take an updated look at the player stats before we get into the Stanley Cup Finals in the real-time simulation. So unfortunately, Winnipeg getting eliminated because Laine was playing like a beast. 23 points in 17 games. Kopitar carried his team to the Stanley Cup Finals. Kempe, wow, Adrian Kempe a point per game. That's pretty crazy. Tanner Pearson playing great as well. So I feel like they're all almost on the same line. So LA's offense is producing. So if that continues, LA might win a Stanley Cup again. So let's get into the real-time simulation and see who takes Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Toronto apparently has home ice. I don't know if they would in real life. I think so, though. Yeah, they might. So first period, and it is scoreless. Shots are 13-10 in favor of the Leafs. Second period, and it is 2-0 for the Leafs. Marleau and James Van Riemsdyk. And let's just quick sim the third period as well. And it is a 5-1 game 1 win for the Toronto Maple Leafs as Marleau picks up 2 goals in the game. Nate Thompson with the only goal for the LA Kings, as Frederik Andersen shut the door pretty much on them. Okay, so let's get into Game 2. We'll probably intervene and watch the third period or something like that. And, well, not the full third period, we'll just watch like the simulation, like actually like where they lift the Stanley Cup and whatnot when there's a chance to, even though I don't want to see the Leafs maybe winning a Stanley Cup. So Game 2, and it's 2-0 Leafs. So Jonathan Quick is just dropping the ball, and LA's offense is nowhere. Second period, and it came through, and they're within 1 going into the third period. Shots are 24-22 in favor of Toronto. Third period, and okay, so LA had 1, but Nazem Kadri with the game-winning goal, and Ron Hainsey gets the empty netter, and the Leafs have a 2-0 series lead. I guess Ron Hainsey is going for back-to-back Stanley Cups because he won one last year with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So now we're back in LA. Let's see who could take the game here. First period, and it's 1-0 Toronto. Austin Matthews. Second period, and it is 2-2. So LA had the lead for the first time in the series, but Kadri will tie the game up. Third period, and the Leafs are going to win as Austin Matthews makes it 3-2, and Toronto is 1 game away from winning a Stanley Cup. Damn, I don't like the simulation at all in comparison to last year, because last year I think it had the Sens going to the finals against the Sharks, which was kind of close because the Sens almost made the finals. So let's see, will the Toronto Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup for the first time since 1967? First period, and it is scoreless. I guess that's good for LA. Shots are 9-5 in favor of the Leafs, though. Second period, and it is 1-1. Carter gets LA on the board, but Nylander will tie it up. So let's start the third period, and if there's a chance for the Leafs to win the Cup, we will intervene and watch. So Lyman makes it 2-1. So we'll intervene around like the 1 minute, 2 minute mark, just so it's not that long. And let's go around right here. So I will let you guys watch. I don't know if I could turn up the game audio because I'm using OBS. But yeah, I'll see you guys. Well, actually, Yeah, I'll see you guys at the end of it when I do, like, I'll go over the player stats again, and yeah, see you guys in a second.
It's been a tremendous bit of hockey so far, and more to come. The Kings win the draw. What's next? Gets in. What'll he do? The Kings go for... Didn't have time, but he saved it anyway.
The goalie makes himself look big.
I usually don't even know where the mascot is most of the time in a game, but this guy's really good. He's all over the place. He's in front of the play, so people are watching him while they're watching what's going on the ice. I kind of like his costume, too. This is pretty good stuff.
The Leafs through the neutral zone move it along. Net empty. Not on the net. He can start some danger here. Los Angeles in control as they travel up the wing. With a shot. Whoa, stick save. Loose puck, good defensive denial. What a dream realized for so many of these athletes and all their fans. Your name goes on it, the Stanley Cup.
They have battled losing streaks and injuries. They've had times when their goaltending has failed or their scoring has been absent. Yet at the end of the road, they are Stanley Cup champions as they bonded together to become the best team in hockey. You go through the handshake lineup and there is sportsmanship to be shown, but it's hard to let go of the intensity of a long and bitter series.
The playoff MVP gets the Conn Smythe Trophy, and here is the winner.
There's always a little bit of an odd feeling when the Conn Smythe Trophy is handed out because it's an individual award when everybody is here to see the best trophy in sports presented, and that will come next.
It's often said it's the hardest prize to win because it takes 8 weeks. And by tradition, the captain is the first to hold it high.
I can guarantee you that picture right there with the cup up over his head will be displayed prominently in his home. One moment he can be proud of and will cherish forever. As long as the Stanley Cup has been presented on the ice, and then the players have made a victory lap with it, there's been a pecking order as to how the cup is handed off. Nobody really talks about it. It just organically happens. But everybody knows there's a seniority to the way that this 30-pound trophy is presented player to player.
You play that hard and that long. You get your names on a trophy, rings on your fingers, and one last photograph, evidence of it all.
So there you guys have it. The Toronto Maple Leafs have won the Stanley Cup for the first time since 1967. It was kind of weird though because they actually don't have a captain, I think, at the moment. So for some reason, Nikita Zaitsev of all people came up and grabbed the Stanley Cup. If you guys well, you guys would have saw that if you watched. Kind of weird, and yeah, so there's the 3 stars for game number 4. Let's take a look at the player stats for the entire playoffs. See who would have won the Conn Smythe if Frederik Andersen wouldn't have, because he had a really good playoffs, I guess. So hopefully this simulation is not really that accurate, because I don't really want to see Toronto win it this year, to be honest. I'd like to see I'd rather see Winnipeg win the Stanley Cup this year. Not sure who else exactly. So Laine still had the most points in the playoffs, so he probably would have won the Conn Smythe if Winnipeg would have won the cup. Kopitar and Doughty were also up there. They could have won it. Yeah, Matthews had 19 points, so he was the best Toronto forward for point-wise, which is not a surprise. And goaltending-wise, yeah, Frederik Andersen was the reason they won the cup. 16-5-1, 2 shutouts, a .937 save percentage, and a 2.03 goals against average. So Toronto getting a very good year. So yeah, that's gonna do it, guys, for this playoff simulation video. So hopefully you guys like this. Let me know all your thoughts on who will win the cup and the Conn Smythe and all that sort of stuff down below, and I'll see you guys next year with another playoff simulation.